everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
a podcast exploring religion, politics, and current events from two atheists just trying to survive life in the United States.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, we've got a new Satanic Panic on our hands. We have kind of talked about it before.
Everything old is new again.
But this time it involves Madonna.
Madge is back, baby! And starring in her favorite role, the harbinger of Satan.
Yeah. And as somebody who clearly throughout her career has not given a fuck what the dum-dums have to say about her.
Far from it. No, I mean, I think she gives a fuck. I think she loves what the dum-dums have to say. Like, every time someone says the word Satan about her, like, all she can hear is cha-ching.
No kidding. Well, anyway, she did a big concert down in Rio de Janeiro, and the local pastors had something to say about it. We'll be talking about that on the second.
Brazil is all aflutter.
So that's coming up. But first, we have some news of the week, things that we need to talk about, stuff that happened. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, a megachurch, a Texas megachurch by the name of Lake Point Church in Rockwall, Texas. That's in the Dallas Metroplex.
I feel like every fourth church is that name. What did you say? Lake what?
Lake Point. Well, there are a few of the Lake Points. This is a chain.
It's just everything is like lake. It's all just sort of generic sounding.
Yeah, well, of course, it wouldn't be about Jesus, right?
Right.
But nonetheless, this megachurch, apparently they get like 16,000 people that come through on the weekends.
Wow.
In like a couple different sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that means a lot of traffic, you know.
Yeah.
We're not talking, this is Texas, right? This is not a walkable neighborhood, everybody, right? Like their walkability score is pretty low.
I feel like 95% of the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex is freeways. So yeah, you need to have cars.
The actual surface area of the Metroplex is 40% freeway. Yeah, that's probably safe to say, actually. Anyway, they feel like they need a new stoplight, helping people get in and out of their parking lot.
Sure.
And they're probably right about that. But the city of Rockwall, they require there to be a traffic study done when anybody comes forward saying, you know, hey, the Costco. Hey, mm-hmm. You know, we're over here at the Costco and we need a new traffic light or whatever it is, right? They say, okay, well, we need you to hire an engineering company to come in, do the study. Based on the results of that study, we will then let you pay for a traffic light to be installed, right? And
especially when it's like an entity that pays zero taxes demanding something. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But this is equal opportunity. Apparently this is just how it goes. Like,
right.
I'm
just saying, especially in the
case. Sure enough. Well, so anyway, the church is like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, we'll do that. So they get the whole thing going. They know the engineering firm is going to, traffic engineering firm, whatever it is, that they're going to be like, they're going to do like a 5-day study or something like that. And
just don't do it on Sunday.
The church couldn't just let this happen though. So they decided they were going to organize their members to drive the area in 1-hour shifts.
What?
In order to get the traffic numbers up, right?
You've got the traffic, 16,000 people. What are you talking about?
This is the message that went out. They sent an email out to small group leaders, which I guess in a big mega church they kind of break the congregation down into small groups.
Okay,
and
sure.
so the email went out to the small group leaders, urging them to encourage group members to sign up for a driving shift. In order to pad the numbers. And this is what it says. Each shift is a commitment to drive the prescribed route 10 times within that hour shift. It's great if you can make more than 10 laps within the hour, but laps are only counted toward that specific shift.
What the
so
fuck?
You can't lap bank, I guess, right? And
I drove 2 times on Tuesday, so that'll count towards my goals.
No, it has to happen within that time frame. I guess amongst the first people to sign up were 2 of the pastors of the church. Mm-hmm. The email got posted on a local Facebook page, and all hell broke loose.
Wow.
Let's see. So there's a lot of blame going all around. A church staffer posted a note on the Facebook page, blaming the whole thing on an overzealous staffer, and saying the church had the best of intentions.
Right. Who are we going to throw under the bus for this one? I think it's Rick's turn. All right, Rick. You take the fall on this one.
Well, one of the top guys, Tim Smith, the senior executive pastor of the whole shebang, the whole thing. I don't think he works at this location, right? He has to come out and get involved. He says, "We regret how this reflects on the body of Christ and its impact in our community. We love our city and have much respect for our leaders. We will continue to work with the city to make the traffic around Lake Point as safe as possible."
What ding-dongs? What absolute, you don't need to fudge this one.
No. In fact, they talked to a professor of urban planning, I think it was. Let me see if I can find that. Who basically said that he's never heard of this. He's like, I have never. Nobody has ever done this before. This is completely brand new. Trying to game the system and create all this traffic so that you're guaranteed to be able to get a light.
Just send little Timmy out to jump on. It's probably those little hose things that just jump on it 20 or 30 times an hour.
Yeah. I guess though, there's some other really fun stuff about this church that the article goes into. I'm not going to get into it, but it was a rip-roaring article.
Wow.
About the whole thing. Oh,
well,
mega churches,
if there's one thing that we can say about American Christians, it's that they have integrity. I think that's the main takeaway.
Indeed.
Speaking of integrity, also Italian Christians have integrity. No, they don't. And it's not really Italian. I'm taking us to the Vatican.
Oh,
where I was in Rome just a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and the Vatican is amazing. Like what's his name's cathedral,
St. Peter.
Is stunning, is shocking. It's enormous. It's beautiful.
It's mind blowing.
It really is. It's I've seen a lot of cathedrals in a lot of places that were very important, but that one, I mean, I guess appropriately enough is you just what isn't mind-blowing, or maybe is mind-blowing in a totally opposite way, is, for my money, the Vatican museums, which I was shocked by how badly curated those museums were.
Dan, how dare you?
Just absurdly badly curated. Everything was badly labeled or not labeled at all. Why does the Vatican have Egyptian sarcophaguses for no good reason? Like, it is why does the Vatican have a whole little room tucked away in the middle of nothing with works by 20th century like absurdist masters or whatever? Like, what's happening?
They've got a highly developed taste, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
They like a broad spectrum of art.
Absolutely not. It is just a shitty museum. It is a shit museum. You just go through it because you want to see the Sistine Chapel, and then they don't even let you take pictures when you get in there. Anyway,
and it is I think the real shit part of it is the crowd.
Yeah, you're shoulder to shoulder the whole
experience.
time.
It's just a horrible experience.
Absolutely. Here's the other shit part of it. Working there, apparently. Apparently, listen, the Vatican is a country with something like fewer than 1,000, something like 800 permanent residents. I'm not sure the exact number now.
Right.
But people obviously have to work at the Vatican museums.
Yeah.
So I guess somebody does. I don't know who. I'm definitely not a good museum curator. I'll tell you that right now.
Wow.
Anywho.
I mean, it's a small country. Like, they don't have a big talent pool to pull from.
It's a country surrounded by Rome, for God's sake. Anyway, so the employees of the Vatican museums, almost 50 of them, have filed a class action complaint with the Vatican, with their administration, whatever. When the country's that small, it's not easy to know, like, is there even a recourse here? But apparently they have been treated so badly and paid so poorly, and they don't get any, like, they don't increase their seniority as they stay on, and they don't get overtime, and they're just not being treated very well.
And
they don't, like, it's a country. They don't have anyone to go to. If the Pope says, I don't care, then that's the end of the story for them. So basically they've been stonewalled the entire time by the administration of the Vatican.
Oh my God.
So
okay.
Why then
quit?
Well, I don't. It's not always that easy, and also I'm guessing some of them are there because there's some prestige to it or something. But yeah, they live. It's an absolute monarchy there, so they got no major recourses in terms of, like, you know, making them fall in line with other, like, European standards or whatever. They have considered, apparently, going to the European Court of Human Rights.
Oh no.
Which the Holy See is not a member of the European Court of Human Rights.
I mean, they could sue him at The Hague,
right?
Like,
I mean, this is not a war crime.
It might be.
We're not quite to that level here. And apparently, and I'm actually surprised by this, the Vatican is not a member of the European Court of Human Rights, nor is it a signatory to the European Convention on Human Rights.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I don't know. You'd think that there would be some pressure that like religion would be at least moderately interested in human rights, but apparently not even interested in looking like they're interested.
That's doesn't surprise me. And that's amazing.
I also think it's amazing that these employees have retained a Vatican attorney.
Wow, the Vatican is just mind blowing. It's
how
so
do you
weird.
even have it? Like, there is something resembling a court system, but, like, how many attorneys can there be that are sort of okayed to practice in the Vatican?
Just Luigi. You just go.
It's Laura, actually.
Oh, it's Laura?
Laura.
Okay.
Wow. I don't know how to pronounce. How would you pronounce the last name? Sgro.
Zgro?
Zgro. Laura Zgro. There you go.
Oh, all right, Dan.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry. The takeaway is don't go to that museum. There are much better museums in Rome. You'll have a better time.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay.
But also, like, the Sistine Chapel is the Sistine Chapel. It's pretty fucking cool. It's just a big box, though.
Yeah. But and there's people yelling at you if you make too much noise. It's those people. It's those people.
It's those people.
Yeah.
They are underpaid people. Of course they're yelling. Yeah.
Isn't there a lot of that?
Get out your camera, and when they tell you no, just say, "Look, I know how they're treating you here. Don't worry."
Why?
about
why?
it.
Yeah. You should let me.
Why are you trying?
This
Stop
should be
trying.
your protest. You should let me, and you should let me take it with a flash too. All
Exactly.
right, Dan.
Yeah.
We've talked about cases like this in the past, but I think it's one that's always worth bringing up. It's when prisoners' rights are being infringed upon by some shitty prison guards and prison systems and whatnot. This has to do with a Rastafarian who is serving I can't remember how long of a sentence down in Louisiana.
Okay.
And he had basically, he had dreadlocks that he'd been growing for 20 years. He hadn't cut his hair in 20 years.
Sure.
And the dreadlocks basically went down to his waist. And as he's being, processed into the prison, the prison guards inform him that they're going to have to cut off his dreadlocks, and he protests. He says that, it's a religious thing for him, and they just didn't pay any attention. They didn't care. They basically wanted him to present documentation issued by a judge, proving that he wore his dreadlocks for religious reasons.
He should have thought of that. He should have thought, I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some documentation about these locks. That's going to be important.
I mean, that's it. His attorney maybe should have saw that coming, but nonetheless, he did present them with a copy of a 2017 decision that prohibits the state's Department of Corrections specifically from cutting the locks of Rastafarian prisoners.
There you go. That seems pretty good.
Yeah. And they didn't care. So he is suing, and his lawyer is wanting to take the case before the Supreme Court because there's this law called the abbreviation is RLUIPA, maybe Arluipa, maybe, but it stands for the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, and it governs these kind of things, and it actually does allow for prisoners to have this kind of religious exception, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a federal law, but it applies to state prison systems, but it has no teeth, essentially, right? And so his attorney is wanting to get a new interpretation of this law that would allow the inmate to seek damages, like financial damages against the prison staff that is responsible. Yeah. Now, if this had been a federal prison, there are federal laws that allow for that. Right. But because this was a state prison, there's it has not been interpreted in the same way because it's a different law. And the appeals court is standing by an earlier decision to not allow for financial damages to be awarded in these cases.
Interesting.
And so
You would think that our stupid Supreme Court, being so concerned with religious liberty, would be a shoo-in for them. Except that they are not so concerned with religious liberty.
Right.
They are so concerned with Christian supremacy.
Correct.
And that's different.
Yeah. It's a 5-month sentence that he's serving.
Oh my God.
For on drug
cut
charges.
off his hair for 5 months?
5 months, drug charges.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I'm going to assume that this is a fellow of African descent.
Correct.
So
what tipped that off?
Well, I mean, drug charges are pretty much reserved for black people in this country. That's just they're the literal trap set by the racist lawmakers to catch them.
Yeah.
So that's fun and cute,
isn't it?
Can I just say that I am shocked that this story, you said Rastafarianism, and I was positive that drugs were going to be the question at hand, that it was going to be marijuana, but nope, it's hair.
It's hair.
I didn't know it was going to be hair.
Yeah. And the entire time, I'm actually proud of myself that I did not say Pastafarian, because that was what was immediately first coming to my lips every single time I was saying Rastafarian. But
oh my God, that's pretty funny.
Pat myself on the back.
Yeah. I'm just realizing that's that Pastafarian is like, it's a cute phrase for members of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, and yet also maybe a little disrespectful of a real religion in a way that might not be okay? Question mark.
Oh, I don't know if that bothers me.
Because they're black? Is that why, Frank?
No, because it's a religion. And
yeah, I know.
It's owed some respect, but not, Yeah. If they were pastagelicals, would you have the same?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm fine with it. It just hadn't occurred to me to wonder whether that was okay or not before now. So maybe that's a problem. That's problematic on my part. There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to take us to Chicago. And this story that I thought I knew where it was going, and I thought I knew what my angle was going to be. Like a lot of these stories, you read them, you look, you get the headline, and I know instantly what the story is going to be for our show. And I'm reading to get the specifics, and so that I'm well informed about it. But it's not going to surprise me. You know what I mean? It's not going to catch me off guard. This one caught me a little off guard.
Okay.
The headline was lawsuit alleges religious coercion through meditation in Chicago public schools.
Oh.
Now we have heard parents in a panic over their kids being forced to do such horrific things as, bend their bodies in specific ways for health purposes, or sit still and be quiet for a little bit. Because, that's a thing that, Indian people do. And that means that they're making them do Hinduism, and that's bad or whatever. Like, right. We've reported on stories like that.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Where parents are outraged that their kids are doing yoga in school because somehow they're summoning Hindu demons into the school or whatever.
It makes sense to me.
So when I saw that this was a lawsuit about a program at a Chicago public high school where the kids were meant to do quiet time twice daily, which
high
was
school?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which was just meditation practice.
Okay.
Designed apparently, quote, to decrease stress and the effects of trauma for students. This was a high crime neighborhood school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, there's plenty of good science backing up the benefits of transcendental meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. So I'm sitting here all smugly thinking this is ding dongs going, making a mountain out of a molehill here. And then I read that kids, before they would do their quiet time, before they were sort of allowed to do it, they were initiated by being taken individually into a little room and told to put a little offering of like fruit or a bit of rice or something like that into a cup at an altar with a photograph of a guy named Brahmanda Saraswati, also known as Guru Dev. And literally, like, I think they're legit. I think somebody was making them do a dumb, stupid religion thing before they were allowed to do their quiet time.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the thing. Like,
what fucking idiot? Like, just let them be quiet. What are you doing? Teach them about transcendental meditation. Yes. Don't teach them. Don't like have them kneel down in front of a guru.
It really gives some great ammunition to the right on this.
Oh my God, it so does.
Like it's just the absolute worst thing. Somebody who supports this kind of good and needed activity, right? In it sounds like this school in particular, but probably a lot of schools in general, right? Like I know that the teenage high school experience is very different from what you and I experienced, right? There's like kids have a lot of anxiety over things that we didn't have. We weren't concerned about school shootings. That's not to say
that some of us didn't have lots of anxiety in our day too.
Right, but it wasn't because of, anyway, I was going to say anyway, but like this sounds like a really good thing. This sounds like a really potentially a good program, right?
Yeah.
The idea of taking some quiet time, stilling your mind, and then some ding dong comes along and puts the religion right into the thing that doesn't need it to have the good benefits.
Yeah. What?
Why? Because now, could you imagine wanting to like bring in a yoga program? Right.
Right. Yeah.
In that school district now.
You're fucked. Like literally everybody and apparently this was something that like based on a study done by the University of Chicago's Urban Labs and the David Lynch Foundation.
The David Lynch?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That would be amazing.
That almost feels right, doesn't it?
Possibly.
Maybe David Lynch was like crazed filmmaker David Lynch was involved. I don't. Yeah.
Who knows?
They called it a ceremony of gratitude. Gratitude to a weirdo Indian guru. Why? Why are these Chicago high schoolers grateful to a Hindu guru?
Bringing in an offering.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a bell of some ding, something, Oh God. It's
just the worst.
The worst.
Oh, I hate it so much. I'm so mad.
Okay. Well, Dan, here's something that's going to cheer you right up.
Okay.
Dan. We have this tradition in this country where every state gets to send 2 statues to be put on display at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. Right.
I've been to the room where they the little statuary room in the basement.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Well, they have, there's like and it's kind of an interesting program, right? Like a state gets to say who sort of their great citizens have been, right?
Yeah.
Now in the case of Utah, that does mean that we have Brigham Young in at the state capitol. But as you pointed out earlier when we were talking about this, we're about to send a feminist doctor from like the 1800s, right?
A woman,
yeah,
a woman whose story is like my favorite story in all of Utah history.
Yeah, and that's
Martha Q. Cannon.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Hughes Cannon.
Hughes Cannon. That's who's the Q? There's somebody Q Cannon, and then there's Martha
George
Hughes
Q. Cannon. Canyon.
Yes.
Canyon. Okay. Anyway, we are off.
But look up Martha Hughes Cannon because she's amazing.
She's pretty cool. And so that's who we have. We have like, a shitbag and a pioneer feminist. Yeah. And so, okay. All right. I guess one sort of balances out the other. Anyway, the state of North Carolina has had two very problematic people representing their fair state. It will not surprise anybody. The two racists, and one's a slave owner. North Carolina has two former governors, Charles Aycock and Zebulon Vance. Both are
great names. Both amazing names.
Both are very problematic. But they have decided that they're going to replace Charles Aycock with Billy Graham.
Oh, good. So they've decided to stick with the problematic theme then.
They're fixing their problem. They're getting rid of one kind of racist and putting an anti-Semite, sending him to the U.S. Capitol.
Anti-Semite, and if I'm not mistaken, like also very much against like the civil rights.
Actually, he was I think he was decent on civil rights.
Oh, really?
I think he was. This article kind of says how he was good with civil rights, but he's bad with like feminism, homosexuality, and Jews.
Oh.
So there's that.
Okay, well, there you go.
And I mean, but they love him. They love him. He's like the favorite son, the most famous son of North Carolina. And I mean, he sat in council with presidents, with every president from like Harry Truman to probably Barack Obama. Because he died just like 4 years ago in 2018 at age 99.
Good Lord.
And so he was they're not wrong in pointing out that he was a highly influential individual. Oh,
right. He was an important dude.
And he sat with presidents and foreign heads of state, and I mean, he was a big deal, and he preached. They estimate that he preached to around 215 million people worldwide during his preaching years. But I will bring up the anti-Semitism, proof of anti-Semitism. If you'll recall, in 2002 and 2009, recordings of Graham talking with Richard Nixon. Recordings never were a problem for Richard Nixon.
No, he was very into that.
Who knows how much Graham even knew that he was being recorded.
Yeah, he probably didn't.
He can be heard saying that Jews control American media, and that Nixon could change that if he were reelected. And then there was another recording that where apparently he was saying something about Jewish reporters, and it should come as no surprise as a Southern Christian fellow that he had some problematic anti-Semitic views and whatnot.
Yeah, not shocking.
Not shocking.
Not remotely shocking.
So there you go. That's the new guy heading to the state or to the U.S. Capitol building.
Yeah. By the way, just as an update to my last thing, David Lynch Foundation. Yes, it is that David Lynch.
Yeah.
Because Which only makes sense because if there's anyone in the world who has ever had like a problem with intrusive thoughts and needed some transcendental meditation, if you watch anything by David Lynch, you know that man was disturbed.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to take us finally to Louisiana, where a lot of places, especially in the South, in this country right now, are banning books. It's happening all over. We'll be talking about sort of the new Satanic Panic later in the show, but it's not going great. But good news, Frank. In where was it? In Rapide Parish School District in Pineville, over at Leslie Moore Elementary.
Okay.
They're giving books away.
Good for them.
Or rather, they invited members of the Journey Church to come into the school and distribute some books, give out some literature.
Okay. I see a problem starting.
No. Set your heart at rest. This couldn't go badly if it tried.
They might be giving out copies of Ramona Quimby, age 8.
Or what's her name has 2 mommies, or right. No, alas, they chose a book produced by the Gideons. This is they call it the Life Book. Now, the thing about the Life Book, is this was at an elementary school. The Life Book, even by the Gideon standards, is intended for high school kids.
Oh.
So, it's all about, it's for teenagers. Now, it's terrible for teenagers. Do not seek this out for your teen. It has, Hemant Mehta on his blog highlighted a page talking about, how, Adam and Eve, I'll just read a little bit of it. It says, snakes, which is underlined twice for no apparent reason, can't be trusted. They've tried to make this really hip and fun by having all these, the underlined twice thing. They have all of these things written in the margins and between paragraphs in a pretend handwriting. It is very clearly, I mean, if you know how to spot a handwriting font as opposed to actual handwriting, it's very obviously that. These are all different handwriting fonts.
Okay. And
ironically, many of the fonts are in cursive, which kids these days are not taught. So that's an absurdity right there. I mean, I think we all know that Christians who make media for teenagers are way too out of touch to actually do that. But anyway, this says, snakes can't be trusted. Satan, an angel who was kicked out of heaven when he tried to take over, basically told Adam and Eve that God was lying to them and that they shouldn't trust him. Satan then told them that God didn't want them eating from the special tree because he was just trying to keep them from becoming like him. He also told them God was bluffing on the punishment, which was death. Now, here's the thing about that. Just really briefly, it wasn't Satan. It was just a snake. There's nothing in the book that says it was Satan. B, the snake was correct about everything, and it turns out that it was God who lied in Genesis. So that's kind of cute. And C, why are you giving this to kids at a school?
Why is the school letting it happen?
Yeah.
Because, oh, God.
Yeah. That's just one of those things. And, there are several screenshots or several like images that Hemant has posted about that have various notes from, the various notes from the kids. Like in the margin next to that paragraph that I read, it says, totally hate snakes, ! And it's like signed Tay, Tay. And then
cool.
Yeah. And there are other points where it's like, there's one thing where they've got a note from someone calling himself Uncle G. I'm the old guy, but I love God and love teens. Well, that doesn't sound good right there. That's
God. That's not
know
a combo that's ever gone wrong in the past, right?
Right? That's just a little bit of tone deafness right there. Those who know me call me Uncle G. I grew up in the hood, as they call it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, you did not. That was written by a guy who would be terrified to go anywhere near the hood. Oh my God. It's just so bad. It is so bad, this entire thing from top to bottom. Obviously the FFRF, the FUFRF, our friends over there have gotten involved. They've sent a letter, basically pointing out everything that is wildly obvious about this story. So we'll see what happens, but this was so uncontroversial apparently to the school that they posted on their Facebook page, or maybe they tweeted about it. No, it was a Facebook page, and they posted pictures of all of these church people with the children.
Oh, God.
And it said, Journey Church joined us for Together Tuesday today. Thank you for all of the high fives and kind words.
Yeah.
Something tells me that the same excitement and exuberance would not be demonstrated if Journey Mosque came in and danced and sang with the kids. Oh, it's all just so dumb. Well, friends, if you would like to chime in about your religious experience at school or the experiences of your kids, feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around, there's more show coming up.
Well, Frank, we had some folks write into us, call into us. We've got people to communicate with. Here we go. Taylor wrote in, and she says, "Hi, Frank and Dan. Taylor from Florida here. My husband is a council-level Scouting America executive in a deep red part of the state." Yikes. Okay. In many rooms, he's the only progressive atheist. Know which room that is not true for? His office. While many people throw a hissy fit over the rebranding of BSA to Scouting America, the executive leadership is evolving, embracing change, and giving this organization new life. I'm proud of the secular liberals who are doing the work in the communities to rebuild these programs. Most of the leadership is millennial and younger, which is part of the reason why we have secular, moderate to left people working for this organization in Florida. BSA, that's Boy Scouts of America / Scouting America, is getting a much needed facelift. Many people echo Frank's experiences growing up with Scouting and the fun and all the fun he had. We want to see this organization embrace a new generation like you both. We are waiting for the last shoe to drop. It's time for the religious affiliation thing to go.
All right.
There you go.
That's actually, I like that. That's good
Feels
to know.
hopeful.
Yeah.
A has written in about Boy Scouts, Scouting America as well. Heyo, writes A, writing in to comment on the BSA as a former LDS kid. I too had a good experience and have mixed feelings about it all. Nothing scandalous ever happened to me or my cohort, to my knowledge. It was definitely linked to the church, but it felt like the Jesus bits were more performative. Start and close with a prayer, and then the scout stuff happened. We did have a Lutheran kid in our troop and several kids from, quote, inactive families. I think they put some effort into making it relatively religiously toned down to keep them around. That said, We definitely felt a temperature change when we would interact with other troops. Occasionally, we had a bishop or a stake president stop in to see what we were up to, and that totally changed the tone. We did meet in a church after all, but overall it was just boys doing the fun merit badge things peppered with the boring ones that like Frank mentioned. All that said, I can't recall anything going on that would ensure everyone had an experience similar to mine. I feel like we just lucked out. Plenty of room for it all to go off the rails. And also, my experience was that was from then in-group person. From a then in-group person. Man, I did not have all of those words as I was reading. It might have been different if I were the outer darkness bound Sunni atheist, communist, leftist, Marxist, godless, but also Satanist, socialist, adrenochrome fiend that I am now. Yeah, it might have been very different at that point. I'd also point out that we boys had it so much better than the girls of our age. Scouts was infinitely more fun than whatever was going on with the beehives and Maya maids. These are the girls' organizations in the Mormon Church. So I think that's a fair point. It was definitely, the girl. He goes on to say that the girls were preparing for marriage while we were lighting fires, camping, shooting shit, paintballing, cliff diving, obstacle courses. Yeah. Unfair for the girls.
But they've made it fair now, though, right?
Well, scouting has. The Mormons still haven't.
They jettisoned the scouting.
Yeah.
So now they all are focused on like weird spiritual shit during the week. Right?
Maybe. I don't know what they're doing. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But
all right. We've got a voicemail, do we not?
We do indeed. This is from a listener by the name of Brandy, who is responding to your story last week, Dan, about the Utah state auditor having to put up this website for people to rat out people using the wrong gender bathroom.
Okay.
Right. And so this is her take on it.
All right.
Hey, Dan and Frank. This is Brandy Beckett. I am a 51-year-old transgender woman. I heard your latest, most recent episode where Chris, the trans man, was talking about doing a bathroom stunt. I am all for that. I am 100% in doing bathroom stunts. Yes, I was in Utah just a couple of days ago using the restroom. I will use the restroom in Florida. I will use the restroom in North Carolina. I will use the restroom all across this country where they tell me not to, because I'm an American citizen and I'm a trans woman. So, yeah, connect me with Chris. I am down. Let's do it. I love y'all. Y'all have an amazing show. So, thank you for doing what you do. Y'all are great. You rock. Thank you. Bye.
Well, thanks, Brandy.
Yeah, and let's make that connection happen.
Yeah, I will try and figure that out. I do. I liked your Brandy's call to arms sounded a little like, "We will meet them in the sky. We will meet them on the shores. I'll go to the bathroom in Florida." It's the bathroom wars, people.
That's where we're at.
I'll tell you what, man. The trans community is chock-a-block full of brave people. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for that, Brandy. And we've got one more email from a college instructor in Alabama, which, yikes. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure that there are some good colleges in Alabama, but that sounds scary. Hi, guys. I've been sitting on both these comments for so long that I'm sure you won't read them, but wanted to get them to you. The first, you can remember the next time liberty is in trouble. Well, we won't wait for that. We'll just read it now. Clary Act is what they're talking about, and I'll remind everyone that the Clary Act is about campus security. It was a law passed to make sure that colleges have to keep their students safe, etc.
Okay.
And we had reported that Liberty got in trouble for it, but we talked about how it only applies to schools that get federal funds. Anyway, this writer says, with Liberty being penalized with violations of the Clery Act, so much schadenfreude there, because Jerry Falwell Sr. and Jr. hated my school and had lovely names for us. Oh, okay. You said that the Clery Act only applied to schools that get federal funds. And while true, this also applies to any school where students can get Pell Grants and other financial aid like loans. So I think you would be hard-pressed to find a school that doesn't apply to. Unless 100% of the students are not getting financial aid, then they would be free from the Clery Act.
Okay.
So I thought that's an interesting point. The second point that they make is, do you remember we talked a little bit about a lawsuit involving someone finding out that they were eating, I think it was a Hindu person that found out that the gelatin that was in his yogurt was animal based and was horrified or whatever. This person says, gelatin in foods. I am 100% in support of the source of gelatin being labeled on foods and medication. Not for religious reasons, though. My son has a rare disease, something esophagitis, eosinophilic esophagitis, and fish, especially gelatin made from fish, is one of his major triggers for a flare. There are medications he can't take because they only come in capsules, and the gelatin of the capsules is sometimes from fish. I'm now searching for vegan gummy vitamins for him. I wish all meds were made with vegan capsules, but that would trigger allergies for someone else. So the source definitely needs to be labeled for that reason. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think the place that we fell was that, it's fine to make people reveal their sources, the source of their gelatin. That makes sense. But now it makes sense even more. Well, indeed. Frank, I want to point something out to our listeners, and that is that they can be a part of making our show happen because our show is entirely, at least for now, listener supported. The only thing that keeps us going is support from our listeners, and so we are so grateful when people decide to become a patron of the show. So if you would like to be part of making this show go, if you would like to show us a little bit of appreciation, we would really, really be grateful for it. You can do so by going to thankgodimatheist.com and clicking on the support tab and sign up at the level that makes you happy and comfortable, and we'll all be thrilled about it. So we've got somebody to thank.
We do,
I believe.
We do indeed, Dan. We have our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Well, Frank.
Dan.
She terrified parents in the 80s. She became irrelevant for a little while. And now she's back, baby.
How dare you? How irrelevant, Dan? Madonna? We're talking about Madonna?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
She's
Madge
always
herself out there. She's been a lightning rod of controversy.
Always has.
Her entire. I mean, it's her brand.
Yeah.
It's what she built her brand on.
Yeah.
With such terrifying songs as "Like a Prayer," where was that the one where there were fires all over the place and it looked like she was in a church and there was a cross, but I don't think there was a cross burning, but it felt like there was a cross burning, and I don't remember. But I know the parents
there wasn't
were mad.
A cross burning. The parents who would be outraged at Madonna would probably a lot of them would probably like a burning cross. Damn.
If it was burning for the right reason for them. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, this is, I remember the song Like a Virgin coming out. I was a kid, and I remember as a young Mormon boy just being scandalized and not knowing necessarily what a virgin was, but knowing that it was a sex thing, and that made it naughty.
Yep.
So yes, and that was back in the days of the Satanic Panic, when all of the parents were whipped into a frenzy by their pastors, by their preachers and whatever. And now it's happening again. This time in Brazil, where she had a huge, I guess she closed out a world tour.
Yeah, with like this insane concert in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah,
on the Copacabana beach.
Yeah. Which sounds like a hell of a party.
1.6 million people at the concert.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't all have been at the concert. That's too many people to be at the concert.
Have you seen the images?
Yeah.
They're at the concert. It's insanity.
Yeah. It's nuts. It was also broadcast around the country. But yeah, I mean, the people of Brazil embrace 60 whatever year old Madonna. They are there for it. But not God. I'll tell you who doesn't like Madonna. Jesus.
Never has. Dan.
No, never will.
At least he's consistent on
right?
this fact.
You would think he'd love her. Like a Virgin song should remind him of mom. But
her name, yeah. I mean,
yeah, Madonna. Come on, that's your mom. Jesus, be nice. But apparently, there have been massive floods in Brazil of late, and that she caused. Obviously.
Oh no!
These are punishments from God, according to Lutheran pastor Romy Benke and other pastors who made the same connection. That God is, furious, and the people are mad.
Are these pastors unaware of how Brazilians are with or without Madonna being in in the country?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have a correction. The one pastor that I named happened to be the actual pastor who was like saying, "No, don't be ridiculous. That's not how God works." So my apologies.
Good. Okay.
Let's go with Baptist pastor Aloysio Penido, who was one of the ones who was like who said that the concert was, quote, an insult to God, and that the images that were broadcast for the concert drew a, quote, association with the worst possible segment in society. I think he means gay people.
How? Oh.
Because there's, she has been an ally to the LGBTQ community, since the beginning.
Oh, yes.
They even forgave her for stealing the Vogue, so that's a big deal. They gave it to her.
Yeah,
she didn't even do it well.
I know.
Look, I guess there's nothing new here. There's, as I said at the beginning of the show, there's nothing new under the sun. What is old is new again. But it is so funny.
Except Madonna. She's just old.
She's just old. Yeah. But it's so funny to me that she's again the lightning rod. It's like, get a new person. When
it's a little easy, isn't it?
It does feel a little easy.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj is out there. You can do her, I don't know, somebody.
Yeah, but these pastors actually know who Madonna is.
Everybody knows who Madonna is, apparently. It is, look, it's a disappointing time. We're in another satanic panic now. Do not kid yourself. I mean, you're listeners to our show, so you know what's going on out there. It's a shit show. But our generation, like these pastors, knew about the 80s. You know what I mean? It's just so weird. Anyway, expect this to not stop in Brazil. I mean, what the temptation would be to say, oh, Brazil, they, 2024 Brazil finally caught up with 1980s America. But no, we're in the same damn boat.
Yeah, the pastors in this country, I was about to say our pastors. I'm not going to claim these people, but the pastors in this country are just as much lunatics, right?
Yeah.
Like they blame weather phenomenon, on whomever, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If there's flooding in Tennessee, you can bet Greg Locke is not going to look inward about it.
But what did I do wrong these days?
Wow. Was this about me? Yeah. The other thing though, is that this is what happens, and what we should be constantly watching for and constantly pointing out is egomaniacal people, whether they are pastors or politicians or whatever, will just gleefully latch on to anything that they can whip people into a frenzy about. It doesn't matter what it is. COVID-19, Madonna, anything they can. And they don't care how wildly irresponsible it is of them to terrorize people with by turning harmless things into monsters.
I wonder how aware they are of that it's a tactic, that it's just that they're just doing it just for the to rile people up and to get clicks.
I'm willing to believe that some of them don't know that they're doing something horrible and irresponsible, but I know for a fact some of them do, and they just don't care. So either way, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter which direction it's coming from. If it's entirely sincere and they're just trying to be good or whatever, they're still just exactly the same amount of dangerous. Or maybe even more, because they're actually sincere about the whole thing. I don't know.
Who can say? They're just it's not good, Dan. We can say that for sure.
It's a bad thing. So,
we get to watch it all over again. History rhyme with the Satanic Panic Part 2. So,
yeah. If any of you guys out there have read up a lot on the Satanic Panic of the 80s and sort of know what things were useful in making it go away and in pulling people out of their hysteria, please write into us. That would be amazing. We need to hear about this stuff. So you can write into us. We're at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
To support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
Our show is edited by Roger Gowdy. Music has been provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2024, all rights reserved.